and behavior and well-being. This first slide gives you an overview of my talk. I will speak a little bit about the USP Twin Panel, who we are, how we contact the twins which participate in our research, our social networks, and how we conduct the registry. The research overview, we will talk about some data on twinning rates in São Paulo and in Brazil, about well-being and personality, adult twin relationships in childhood, and twins at the lab. After that, we will speak with you about our next steps. We will organize the third twins meeting. In a few days, you can participate. Everybody is invited. Gustavo will give us more information about the event at Centro Cultural do Butantã. And what we intend to do in a new cycle on twin behavior. We will continue the research with adult twins, and we will begin a study with children on development. That is a very interesting subject. And we had already organized 2 twins meetings. They are comparable in small proportion to the twins festivals that occur all around the world. Okay, let's begin with our USP Twin Panel. It was created in April 2017, is located at the Institute of Psychology of the University of São Paulo, involves several members of our faculty and several students and collaborators. It is registered at the USP Innovation Agency, USPIN. Our mission is to conduct twin research, studies on psychological processes and behavior, and generating and disseminating new knowledge. And we believe in the power of collaborative research involving national partners and international partners too. Our team is increasing. It began in 2015, involves undergraduates, graduate students, collaborators, postdoctorate students. And we had scholarships that were given by FAPESP, USP, CAPES, and CNPq. And obviously, we had the support of Natura. I like this picture very much, although my students say that it's not very good in technical quality. But I like it because we have here our team at USP and 5 students that came from the school Divine Providence from Jundiaí. And they came with 2 of their teachers. One of them is a master's student at the Institute of Biology from the University of São Paulo, and the other is Pedro, I don't remember his surname, and they are the professors of scientific initiation. And they are eager to get older and do research in this school. I didn't have this opportunity when I was studying, but these students are interested in conducting research with twins, and they are in discussion with our students, master and undergraduate students. I like very much this initiative. And here is our national network. We have colleagues from Universidade Federal of Pará at the north of Brazil, from Universidade Católica de Salvador, from Bahia, from Universidade de Brasília, and our team here at the University of São Paulo is increasing. We have colleagues from the medicine school and more recently from the odontology school that are joining our group. And here at Rio Grande do Sul, you have Confraria das Mães de Gêmeos. It is an association of parents of twins that gathered in order to help each other in moments of difficulties, and they are very enthusiastic. And here you can see the mothers and parents from Confraria das Mães de Gêmeos during the last carnival. But they are also interested in research, and 3 of them are conducting research with us. I will talk about our conjoint research project. Okay, here is our international network. Professor Silvia Corte, from Universidade de la República, from Uruguay. Our colleague and friend, Nancy Siegel, from the California State University in Fullerton, and our more recent friend, Meik Bartels, from the Vrije Universiteit of Amsterdam. When I was a student, an undergraduate student here at the University of São Paulo, I read the books and articles of Nancy Siegel. And I could not believe that she was so friendly and simple person when I wrote her. She was so interested in coming to Brazil. She came 2 times, and we can say that we are friends. Okay. We contact the twins through social networks. This occurs not because of my technical abilities, but of the students. There are several undergraduate students here present: Heloísa, Jonas, Gustavo, Isabela, Davi. Renata, they are the responsible people for producing and posting contents at our website, at Facebook, at Instagram. And they are always telling me that we have a lot of friends, more than 1,000, many followers, and I'm following what they tell me. We are promoting communication and connection with and among the twins. We want to create a sense of belonging of this group, and it's a lot of interesting things happening. They told me that I can click here and enter in our, yes, here is our Facebook with lots of news about what's happening. And how can I go back? So here, okay. And here is Instagram, and here is our website. I like very much what the students are doing. They read articles, we discuss these articles, and they summarize the content and put it at our website of Painel USP de Gêmeos. Okay. And now I will tell you about our twin registry. This is always been updated, no? And during the last days, on Sunday, Heloísa sent me the last number we have, so 4,055 twins registered. No? all started at the first twin meeting, but they are always being invited to participate in activities through website, Instagram, and Facebook. A very interesting initiative was the census, the twin census at USP. We sent an email to all the community, faculty, students, and the administrative team, and people who had twins in their family registered. And we try to make twins festivals. We had also a research institute involved that also helped us a lot to bring twins to the lab. It was really impressive. In 1 month, we had more than 80 pairs of twins coming at our lab for more than 1 hour of tests and questionnaires and a lot of things. It was really a task force, and I have to thank everybody who is here and helped a lot to make this true. Okay. And here is the evolution in time from the beginning of 2016, when we organized our first twins meeting, until now, October 18th. So you can see what was more effective in bringing twins to us. I think that the most effective initiative so far is a research with twin mothers. And we made the advertisements through USP Journal and our site, and we had 400 mothers participating, and this increased to 1,013 in a few days. It was really impressive. We are excited about what we can do and the interest people have. Here is a twin distribution of our register by state and regions of Brazil, and darker blue means that we have more twins registered, and lighter blue that are fewer. So you can see that there are more twins registered of São Paulo. Really is understandable. We have our headquarters here, but we have also many twins registered in Rio Grande do Sul and Minas Gerais. And we have a lot to increase. So among those who are more than 16 years old, you can see that there is an almost balanced distribution of monozygotic and dizygotic twins. Here you have the 50% are monozygotic and 43% dizygotic. Here, among those who are less than 16 years old, you have a more biased distribution with more dizygotic twins, 59% versus 31% of dizygotic twins. Probably the mothers of those who are more similar are more motivated to speak about the relationship of their twins. But you see that a part of our sample, 6% in one case, and 3% and 5% in the other, tell us that they don't know if they are monozygotic or dizygotic. And this is absolutely essential. We have to know if they are monozygotic or dizygotic. We received an invitation to write a paper about our twins registry of young Mi Hur. He is a professor of a South Korean university, and he is updating the informations about the twin registers all around the world. This will be published in 2019 by Twin Research and Human Genetics. We accepted it, and now we are working in this update. We hope that Eloisa can give us higher numbers than 4,000. Okay, here, when you go to the site of the International Society of Twin Studies that maintains this journal, Twin Research and Human Genetics, you can see information about the several countries around the world and the twin registers that they have. No? United States of America is the country that has the greater number of twin registers. For us, especially interesting, the Minnesota Twin Registry, because they also have a psychological perspective in the research that they conduct, and they are responsible by the interesting researchers of twins reared apart. They compare monozygotic and dizygotic twins that were reared together and that were reared apart. So it's really a fascinating word for us who are psychologists and who want to know about nature and culture, nature environment. So I gave you only an example of what you can find there. And now I will begin to speak about our research, beginning with twinning rates. You have already heard our report about the twinning rates paper that we published in 2016. And we use data publicly available of our health department. And then we could analyze more than 2 million births. And so we have 24,000 twin births, and we could analyze this data according from the year from 2003 to 2015. And the birth rate increases. In 2003, it was around 10, and in 2013, 14 or 15, it was 13 in 1,000 births. Okay? And this is very different from what we had at the literature, because the available articles only published data about one hospital or 3 or 4 hospitals. So for the whole city, it was really a new information. And we had also there was an increase over time, but the more important variable was maternal age. Older mothers had higher chances to have twins than younger mothers. Okay. Jonas made an analysis of the distribution of twins births as a function of mother's address, not the hospital where the babies were born, but her address. And you can see that our city of São Paulo is not homogeneous. It is heterogeneous with respect to twin births. You have some districts in which you have more twin births. There are especially the richest districts. Mothers are older and wealthier in those districts where you have more twins births. Here you have twinning rate according to the regions of Brazil. And here you see the same picture as you had seen in São Paulo. You can see that Brazil is heterogeneous with respect to twin births. You have more twinning births in the southeast, in the south, than in the north. 7 per mil in comparison to 10 per mil, per thousand, sorry. Is it clear? Okay. So, there are several variables that can influence twinning births. Maternal age, older mothers have more twinning births than younger. Genetics, in Africa, you have the higher twinning rates, and in Japan, the lowest twinning rates around the world. Assisted reproductive treatments, pollutants, this was a new information for me. Body mass index, higher body mass index is more associated to twinning, and ethnicity. I gave here an information of the literature with 2 students that were particularly impressive for me. The first one is our data from a natural fertility environment. There are 4 villages in rural Gambia before the medical treatments arrived, before health treatments arrived at this place. And you can see that maternal age is highly associated with twinning rates. So it's not some fertility treatment with these mothers. Okay. And the next one was particularly interesting for me, too. Twinning in human populations and in cattle exposed to air pollution from incinerators. Though the people that lived around this place where the incinerators were, and also cattle, had more twins than in other places. Though we have to understand why the incineration of chemical and other waste had some estrogenic properties. This, for me, was a really unexpected information. Okay, but these are only basic informations. We were interested in more psychological subjects, but we needed to know how many twins were there for us to study. And we began to study subjective well-being. Okay, the first question that I want to give to you, and I will try to convince you, is why to study well-being in twins. I will try to convince you that it's very important, giving you a brief scientific summary of the literature. I will begin with Martin Seligman, our friend. He was an experimental psychology, learned helplessness during the 70s, and then he wrote all his books, and now he tells you about learned optimism. Okay. In 1993, he wrote this article, Is Optimism Irritable? A Study of Twins. And he went to a twins festival, and there he gave the twins who were interested a questionnaire to answer, and he compared the answers of the monozygotic and the dizygotic twins. And he had a somewhat unbalanced sample. No? He had 115 monozygotic twins and 27 dizygotic twins. This is very common in the festivals. the monozygotic twins are more interested in participating of the festivals and also in research. And so he tells us that the correlation in the scores of the monozygotic twins were 0.48 versus 0 in the dizygotic twins. So the answers of one have no correlation, no association with the other in one of the groups, and in the other you had a strong association. But this study can be criticized because the sample is very biased. Okay. I put this slide here to show you the environment where he collected his data. It was not a laboratory. It was an open place with tents, research, and one researcher trying to convince the audience that his or her research was more interesting than the others. Okay, and the twins go there during 2 days. There is in the 41 or 42 edition in Twinsburg, in Ohio. So the name of the city, the town, is given by the festival. I would like to go there and to live there sometime. Okay. And this study was conducted in Italy by a group, and one of the authors is Cavalli Forza, that is a geneticist, and they began the study by criticizing the study of Seligman because of his biased sample. And so here you can see that they have a more balanced sample, 115 monozygotic twins versus 136 dizygotic twins. They balanced the sample, but they have a little more females than males in the sample. That is also a bias that frequently occurs. But they found approximately the same correlation result that Seligman had found for optimism, and for self-esteem, they also have different correlations. They conclude that the present findings show substantial irritability for self-esteem and moderate genetic influences on optimism. I found this chapter also very interesting. It is from a book, Optimism and Pessimism. It's a chapter of Marvin Zuckerman, and he talks about the biological foundations of this threat. And he offers us a phylogenetic hypothesis. He says that optimism is a good threat, that is was something selected for. It can have a genetic basis, because an optimistic aptitude may be an adaptive trait selected during the evolution of our species. And currently, we found that some individual difference in reactions to stressful experience may depend on genetic factors. And he discusses that the extremes of adaptive traits may be pathological, and you can have mania as the extreme of optimism and depression as the extreme of pessimism. And his hypothesis is that the serotonergic system may be a candidate of genes evolved, because this system is the target of drugs that are effective in treating depression. In his, let me see here, sometimes he doesn't want, but let me explain. Okay. Let me explain this research of at Dinner. Dinner wrote an article of 30 years of review of well-being studies. He was the guy who made the first studies, and now he has 30 years of studies to look about. And we have, I think, to read these studies in order to inspire us. No? And he says that researchers are often disappointed by the relatively small effect sizes of external objective variables that were explored. And he concludes that personality is one of the strongest and more consistent predictors of subjective well-being. Because of this, I want to convince the committee and the Natura representatives that twins are valuable to study this well-being subject. Researchers must focus greater attention on the interaction between internal factors and external circumstances. Maybe Daisy can agree with me that if we have twins, we can control these individual variables and follow the individual, these pairs over time in response to various challenges of life. Let's see if I convince her. And one conceptual model for this link between personality and subjective well-being is that some people have a genetic predisposition to be happy or to be unhappy, which is probably caused by inborn individual differences in the nervous system. One of the last slides that I brought you to convince you that this is important is this study of Avaliação Caspi, and he had 3 groups. And the difference between the individuals is those with 1 or 2 copies of the short allele of the 5 of serotonin promoter polymorphism. And what he showed us is that with the absence of stressful life events, everybody is similar. But when you have a greater number of stressful events, you can see a difference between these groups. And those who have 2 copies of the SS react with more depressive symptoms and with suicidality in comparison with the other groups that are LL, the 2 large copies of these. Too long homozygoses, have homozygoses for the long allele. Is this clear? Okay. And I finish my brief review of the scientific literature mentioning a study of Libominski and Plomin. The title is Stability and Change in Genetic and Environmental Influences on Well-Being in Response to Intervention. This is a study with 750 adolescent twins, and some of them completed a 10-week well-being intervention consisting of kindness and gratitude tasks versus a control group that are not that are neutral. Okay, they show that although well-being is considered by them a strongly genetic influence thread, you can have changes in these characteristics in response to environmental interventions. It's not because there are genetic differences that you cannot make interventions and that you cannot have good results. But you have to know that there are individual differences and that some individuals will react more favorably to your interventions than others. Okay. So, we concluded that twins are a marvelous natural laboratory to begin to study well-being. We wanted to use the questionnaire that was developed in the first project, but since it was in the process of being developed, we couldn't use it. And we used the instruments that were used by Angus Deaton and Kahneman. They are the Gallup instruments. So, we compared the monozygotic and dizygotic twins with respect to life satisfaction, the ladder, Cantor's ladder, the positive effects and negative effects. Okay, the participants are in greater number than 94, but we had the same bias of Seligman. So we decided only to work with females at this first analysis, and Eloisa is increasing her sample. She has the problem that one of the twins answers the questionnaires and the other no, and she sent them a lot of emails. Your brother already answered. Why do you not answer? Okay. And this is an online study at the Qualtrics platform. Eloisa used a zygosity instrument, Nichols and Bilbro. There are 16 questions. It was suggested by Nancy Siegel. And she used Dina's 5 questions of satisfaction with life, besides in addition to Cantor's ladder, and the emotional well-being, positive and negative questions that Gallup used. Okay, and so here you can find the results. The life satisfaction for Cantor's scale is approximately the same for monozygotic and dizygotic twins. For satisfaction with life, the correlation among the twins is higher, but there is no significant difference. For positive effects, there is a number of correlation somewhat higher for monozygotic than dizygotic, but the greatest difference is for negative effects, 36 versus almost 0. Okay? And this, Eloisa made a review of the literature, and she told me that in the articles of Baltes and Huysman, you can see similar, irritability estimations in the literature. Okay. One discussion that we can make is that positive and negative affect may not be opposite poles of the same dimensions, but maybe there are different dimensions. Baker and Zhang also conclude this. Baker found a significant irritability for negative affect, but environmental effects for positive affect. And Zink found that the average of negative affect was significantly irritable, but the average of positive affect was not. So it's, you have here an article of 2016, though these are questions that are discussed at the literature at the moment. So I brought you also this slide because I thought it was interesting. Dinner used data from Germany and from Australia of research that was conducted over 10 years. And he calculated the correlation for positive affect, negative affect, and life satisfaction every 2 years. Is it clear? And so he found that for positive affect and life satisfaction, the correlation decreases over time. But for negative affect, the correlation is stable over the life. Over 10 years. It's not over life, but over 10 years. Though you can conclude that long-term levels of affect, negative affect, were substantially more stable than were long-term levels of positive affect and life satisfaction. I think that this result is in accordance with the previous results. This he discusses in this article of 2009. The name of the article is Beyond the Hedonic Treadmill. You know what a treadmill is? Esteira. Esteira rolante. Você corre, corre e não sai do lugar. You think that you are going to the happiness that is there, but no, you are running, but you stay at the same place. Okay, this is the idea of Dida. Okay. So, what we found, our results are suggestive of significant irritability for negative affect and of environmental influences of positive affect and life satisfaction. But we know that we have to increase our sample. We have to test a greater number of twins, especially dizygotic twins. Also, male twins have to be more represented because we are taking conclusions about females only, and co-twins. And we also have to include non-twin siblings. And we want also to include the questionnaire developed at the project P1 and to conduct longitudinal studies. It is my dream to make the study in 10 years. And our main interest is to study individual characteristics and reaction to environmental challenges. And here you can see one slide from Dinner's article. And he, in his longitudinal study, he shows the effect of widowhood, divorce, unemployment, and marriage. Marriage is the upper line, solid line. So you see life satisfaction increases when you are married, but it's not increasing so much. And you have a peak that decreases rapidly. But when you lose your job, that is the circle, the white circle, you see that your well-being, your life satisfaction decreases, and it doesn't increase even after 5 years of this episode. You go not to the same level that you were. One of my students said, and if we compare students that try many times to enter university. May this have an effect similar to this? Brazil has a problem of unemployment. What are the consequences for the well-being of our population? These are some questions that we want to explore. And now I will talk to you about some results with respect to adult-twin relationship. Our basis for this study that I planned together with Raquel Landerberger was to understand more about the twin relationship of one individual with the other. And it is notable that they say that, unfortunately, there are few empirical studies that addresses the interpersonal nature of twin relationship. This was said by them in 2006. And though we were inspired by this study, and Raquel translated the questionnaire developed by these two authors, and back translated it, and we began to conduct a study. These are the results of Tancredi and Freire. And here you have the scores at the Y scale, and the age of the twins are at the X scale. So you can see that monozygotic, that is the black line, you can see that the monozygotic twins have higher attachment to their brothers and sisters than dizygotic twins, and that this increases with age for the monozygotic twins and decreases with age for the dizygotic twins. The attachment with the mother also decreases over age, and it's somewhat lower for the monozygotic than the dizygotic twins. And the same happens with the father, and over time, the partner assumes more importance in the life of the twins. Okay? Here, let's see. Here is the questionnaire. It's not so, it's difficult for you to see, but my brother or sister is the person that I would want to go to help when I feel better, when something bad occurs. So they have 3 dimensions. According to these authors, their questionnaires involves 3 dimensions: proximity seeking, safe haven, and separation distress. And the participants answered the scale, answer each question in a scale from 1 to 7. Strongly disagree to strongly agree. So Raquel and I began to study the siblings, comparing twins and non-twins, and we compared the brother or sister, the father and the mother. We didn't include other persons of the twins' relations because it would be too long. We intended to start smaller. We had 83 monozygotic twins and 24 dizygotic twins and 81 non-twins. And the mean age of the twins was 31 years old. Okay. used this questionnaire, and it seemed to us better than the 16 questions questionnaire for diagnosing zygosity, because it has only 4 questions, and according to the authors, and it is regularly used by the Norwegian twin registry. With only 4 questions, you have 95% of agreement with DNA, though you can use this questionnaire. Basically, is the difficulty that people have to distinguish the twins. Do you think you and your twin like to look like two ordinary siblings, like two peas in a pod, not very much alike? The equivalent Danish phrase is like 2 drops of water. We discussed a lot how we could translate these 2 peas in a pod, and we concluded that it was cara de focinho do outro. I thought it was somewhat not so good, but Gustavo, who is a twin, said it's okay, and they will not bother about this. In school, was it difficult for teachers and friends to tell you apart? Was it difficult for family or friends to tell you apart? In childhood, did you have the same eye color and the same hair color? So the analysis of these questionnaires can be compared with what the twins think they are, their self-report of zygosity. Okay. These are the results. I will ask Vinicius to tell you the results, because he's our statistician and he made this analysis.
Well, I was not expecting this, so, but I know the data, so I think it will be okay. Here you see the results from for attachment. You know, there's no brothers here. There are twins, non-twins, dizygotic, monozygotic, but just one of the twins answered the questionnaire. So we have monozygotic, dizygotic, and non-twins. The red one is their attachment to their father, the blue from the twin sibling, and the green one is their attachment for their mother. If you compare on the x-axis, you see that the father is the person that they are less attached. And it's very similar from monozygotic, dizygotic, and non-twin. The attachment they have with their father are very similar and smaller than their attachment with mother and sibling. If you look at the mother, again, the attachment all the people have with their mother are very similar, higher than father. But when we ask them about their attachment with their brothers, now we see the difference. The monozygotic twins are much more attached to the brothers than the dizygotic twins or non-twins. And if you can see here, the monozygotic twins are more attached to their brothers than to their mothers. And the opposite happened with the other 2 kinds of dizygotic or non-twin. And the dizygotic are very similar to a non-twin. This was something that caught our attention. I mean, I would expect, okay, it's a little higher here, but it's not very different. I would expect the dizygotic to be more attached to their brothers than the non-twin. And maybe here we can see what explains that. When you look at the monozygotic twins through their age, their attachment to their brothers doesn't vary a lot. You know, from 15 years to 40 years, they are very similarly attached to their brothers. This is not a longitudinal study, people from different ages, okay? When you see the dizygotic twins, they are increased a little bit. And when we look at the non-twins, they start high, but they fell through age. So maybe if we control to age, we will answer the question for why these are so similar. we will, of course, increase our sample size and control for age to understand what is happening here. Just here's the original article, or another article to be more precise, that shows the same pattern. We saw that the dizygotic twins, their attachment to their brothers decreases through age. So we have now to control to age to understand better the results.
Thanks, Vinicius. Okay. We are conducting a study on twin relation in childhood. Interested in understanding the development of twin relation in childhood, we planned another study, and our inspiration was this article of Fortuna and Ariel Knafo. I wrote an email to Ariel Knafo and asked him if he could send me his instrument. He was very nice and excited about the possibility that we are conducting this study in Brazil. We translated the instrument in Portuguese and sent it back translated. And he also said that twin relationships remain understudied, despite increasing prevalence of twinning and unique influence it entails in individual development and family functioning. The same thing that Freire had said in another article with adults. Como que faz aqui, gente? And we started to organize our team, Tânia, Isabela, Paulinha, Ana Carla, and we invited mothers from Confraria das Mães de Gêmeos, that association that I told you about, and Thais, Elisa, Vanessa, Andrea joined us. And Nancy Siegel, our friend, is also with us. Okay. Our goals were to empirically test whether characteristics of sibling relationships as reported by the mothers vary as a function of zygosity. It was an online instrument. The questionnaire was that of Ariel Knafo, and we used the zygosity questionnaire of Christensen. We had 373 monozygotic twins and 500 dizygotic twins. I would like Ana Crispim to continue the explanation.
Okay. So now that we back translated and back translated the twin questionnaire, the twin relationship questionnaire, we, just for a matter of information, this questionnaire has 22 items with a 5-point scale, and now we will show to you the correlations between twin A and B according to the dimensions from the questionnaire, which are closeness, dependence, conflict, and rivalry. You can see also some of the items that were in the questionnaire according to these dimensions. And what we found here is that the correlations for the monozygotic twins were higher than for the dizygotic twins, meaning that mothers perceived them as closer, more dependent, and also with more attitudes regarding conflict and rivalry. And for that, we also decided to test the mean differences with the t-test, and we averaged the scores between A and B for each mother. And what we found here also is that monozygotic twins were perceived again as more close, more codependent, and they were more having more attitudes of conflict and rivalry towards each other. And you can see this in this graph over here. The bigger differences are for the closeness and the dependence. And now we are planning to study this according to gender equivalence as well as age. And in the age analysis, actually, we found that as the twins were getting older, the mothers were perceiving their relationship as closer as well. And that's where we are in the analysis right now.
Thank you, Anna. Our next research is about what we did at our lab in our task force with the twins. Okay, we had 87 twins pairs in 1 month. 74% are of the same sex, 75 females and 22 males. I told you that it's easier to have women coming to the lab than men. And data collection was conducted at our lab. You can visit it after that meeting here. And we took several physical, behavioral, and psychological measures. Questionnaires of zygosity, sensitivity, immunity, general happiness, made a study with eye tracker, videos and photos, and body measurements. Here I will ask Vinicius to explain our result.
The first thing we did was try to validate for Brazil the zygotic questionnaire. Sorry? As you saw during this presentation, we used more than one questionnaire to validate the zygosity of the twins. We can't trust on their opinion because there's a lot of time they are wrong, especially if they think they are dizygotic. So what we did, we used these 2 questionnaires, one with 2 questions and one with 4 questions, and we collected blood to do a DNA test with these 87 subjects that came to our laboratory. And what we saw is that the 2 and the 4 questions respectively had a tetrachoric correlation of 0.98 and 0.95. So they are very good to establish the zygosity of the twins. The only problem that we have is some of the twins are not classified by these questionnaires. Some of the twins come as unknown, and that's terrible to us because having twins to come here and answer a lot of things in questionnaires and then we don't know their zygosity, we have to throw them away, throw them data away. But anyway, it's much better than nothing. It's much better than trying to ask them if they know. And of course, we can't do DNA tests with everyone. So the better questionnaire to us seemed to be the 4-question questionnaire from Christensen et al. And collaborators. We have just 3 subjects of the 87 that was unknown. And we have 8 if we use this Reedy and collaborators questionnaire. But we are very enthusiastic about this questionnaire that we can use now online service or even a presential service that without having to collect blood from everyone. Here we have some of the data, some of the results we got from the lab research. As Emma told you, we collected questionnaires, scales, we filmed them, we use eye tracking with them. And this is some of the results we had with questionnaire. These 3 are components of a sensibility scale. It tries to measure how sensible these people are about their context, about good things that happen around them and about bad things that happen around them, how sensitive they are to this. And if you see, the correlation from monozygotic twins are always higher than the dizygotic twins. So we think there is an heritable component to this sensitivity. And again, as you can see, this aesthetic sensitivity is good sensitivity, is how sensible you are for good things that happens around you. While this easy of excitation and general sensibility, no, general sensibility is general, sorry, the third factor is not here. But easy of excitation is something bad. I mean, how sensible you are, how hurt do you feel when bad things happen around you. And if you see, for good things, they are more similar than for bad things. We are not sure what this negative correlation means, but for sure this is higher for bad things than for good things. That is according to the literature Emma just told us about. For good things, for happiness, for positive feelings, the heritability seems to be smaller than for bad things. For general sensibility, that's kind of them both together, these good and bad things together. We also have bigger correlations on monozygotic twins. For immunity, as we would expect, a high correlation for monozygotic twins, much higher than for dizygotic twins. This is an estimate about the heritability. Something about 80% of the immunity are genetic, comes from genetic factors. On general happiness, again, we have some difference, but smaller than bad things, and immunity. And just some of the results we got. Oh, Mateus, well, Mateus will talk to you about it.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Mateus. I'm also a student here from the university, and I will briefly describe for you our eye tracking experiment. Our hypothesis was based on this study from 2017, which explored the similarity in gaze pattern of twins. According to their results, monozygotic twins presented greater similarity in the visual exploration of complex scenes. This compared to the dizygotic and the control group, which was formed by unrelated subjects. They called it, the control group, the non-twins. So these results were found for both non-social and social images. And it was present even when the researchers considered the temporal order of the fixations. That means that this effect was also present when we considered the chronological order of this visual exploration. Here, this is a video published by the authors which represents this similarity. The two dots in the screen represent the gaze direction of a pair of monozygotic twins. As you can see, there are much similarity in the directions and trajectories between the gazes. So, based on these results, our hypothesis was that this effect could also extend to facial expressions. And to investigate that, we used 6 facial expressions from 6 models of the NIM-STEAM set. The facial expressions were anger, happiness, disgust, fear, sadness, and the neutral for the 6 models. Our sample consisted of 64 pairs of monozygotic twins, and the control group was composed of 64 pairs of unrelated individuals, which we called, as in the first study I mentioned, non-twins. So to analyze this gaze direction, we created 4 areas of interest. The faces were cropped in a medallion shape and positioned in the center of a black background in the eye tracking experiment. So we created 4 areas of interest, which were the right eye, the left eye, the nose, and the mouth. This first video shows the gaze patterns of a pair of monozygotic twins from our experiment. And this next video shows the gaze pattern of two unrelated individuals. As you can see, the monozygotic twins shows greater similarity in the amount of fixations, which are represented by the amount of dots in the screen, and it also showed similarity in the size of the fixations, which is the duration of the fixations, that are represented by the size of the dots. So, to analyze the data, we used 3 measures, which were the fixation duration, total fixation duration, and fixation count. We calculated for all these measures the difference value of the twin pairs by subtracting the score of the twin A from the score of the twin B for all the measures analyzed. And we did the same process to obtain the difference values for the pairs of unrelated individuals, which were our control group. So, está pouquinho diferente, né? O slide está pouquinho diferente, eu acho. Our findings were significant for 2 regions of the face, the nose and the right eye. For the nose region, monozygotic twins presented smaller difference values, as you can see, in all measures: fixation duration, total fixation duration, and fixation count. But for the right eye region, monozygotic twins only presented smaller difference values for the total fixation duration and fixation count measure. Based on our data, we concluded that the monozygotic twins presented similar gaze pattern only for 2 regions of the face, the nose and the right eye. But another interesting result is that the monozygotic group also presented smaller difference values for the mouth and left eye regions, but these results were not statistically significant. And for last, our future analysis of this data intend to explore possible differences between the facial expressions used. We want to see if this effect is modulated by the emotion presented in the facial expressions. Now Vinicius is going to talk about the next steps of our research.
And well, now I'll talk to you a little bit about our next steps. And firstly, I want to make it sure that next steps doesn't mean that we are starting this in a year. We are already doing this or preparing ourselves to do. These are next steps, but very close, very near future from now. The first and obvious thing is we will try to increase our sample size on adults, okay? Especially dizygotic twins and men. We will do some effort to get this kind of twins that are most difficult for us to get. Also, we will do more analysis. I showed you some analysis, most for questionnaires and scales, because they are easy to analyze, and we just collected this data, but we have plenty of data to analyze yet. I will show you just some examples of the data we have. First, we found this extraordinary technology that tries to distinguish faces of monozygotic twins. This was not created for research, but for security. They were concerned if security cameras could distinguish between 2 brothers, 2 monozygotic twins. And they could. If you see, they are, of course, very similar, but this blue line is one, is Jackie here, and the red one is Jessica. Here, they put Jessica 2 times just to check. Here is all the lines. You can't even see the blue line because it overlaps with the red one, but they can distinguish from 2 monozygotic twins using software analysis. Since they can distinguish between 2 monozygotic twins, we want to ask, can it help us to understand differences in facial expressions? Could we find some similarities between monozygotic twins in the smile or in the sad, there is no sad expression here, but could it help us to distinguish this kind of thing? These little things that monozygotic twins must have, can have, that are more similar than dizygotic twins. Not only their faces, but their facial expressions. This is just one example of article that tries to do that and finds some interesting results. That they really thinks they used subjects, blind subjects, so they can't see. And even being blind, they seem more similar in monozygotic twins. Their facial expressions from monozygotic twins seems more similar than dizygotic twins. We want to do this through software. They didn't use the software, they coded with FACS, facial acting coding system. Here is another thing that we have. We filmed the subjects and we put some videos, some funny video or some, how the gross, disgusting video. And we taped them. Their reaction. And we want to analyze if the reaction between monozygotic brothers are more similar than dizygotic. So this is just an example. What happened? Oh, sorry. They can't see each other. Someone eating cockroaches. Sir? Yeah, sir. Oh, yeah. This monozygotic. What? Yeah. I should have brought Tanya here. She's the one that made this video. But if we see not only the... Even to put this stick in there.
Just a little thing. So it was like 5 minutes film, and then we presented a sad scene, like for 1 minute, and then nojo, disgusting film. So here you are seeing, they are seeing a disgust part of a film, and then a happy scene. And we chose these two because, as you can see, they are very reactive to this film. And the other two, they are still, both of them are monozygotic as well, and they are very different on their reaction. So that was, we are trying to, so we have many films, we have from 87 pairs, and we want to watch these videos and try to understand how to measure these similarities and these differences. So now they are seeing a happy scene, and those two, they are watching the same film. Now it's no disgusting part of a film. They are monozygotic, as I told you. And they are separated by, yes, so they can see each other. And we ask them not to speak or do any lousy, you know. And this is the happy film. The computer, we did it on purpose to see what they were viewing. So that's why we can see, you know, the upper part of the screen. So that was it.
So, oh, sorry. Damn it. Another kind of data we have are their voices. We recorded their voices, all the twins speaking and singing. And again, we have software technology to try to analyze the similarities of their voices, their pitches, and use it as a stimulus for next experiments. But again, I'm just showing you some of the things we will do with this data. Here, the results of the software we are studying now. Due to time, I will try to run a little bit because we are already late. But this is the apple of my eye. This is the children project with a partnership with the Hospital das Clínicas. My doctorate is in this project. And what happens? We established this partnership with Hospital das Clínicas, and they provided us data from around 315 twin mothers. They followed these mothers since their pregnancy to birth. So we have data, health issues, birth weight, even if they had postpartum depression, and a lot of data from the mothers and for the children. Almost 700 twin children. Now, these children are between 4 and 10 years old. And we will ask them to come here. We have their phone numbers, their addresses, their income, all this. And we will ask them to come here to our laboratory, and we will collect data now, the same way we did with adults, but now with children and their mothers. Their parents, usually is the mother, but who knows. And with this data, we will be able to do a retrospective cohort study because we have data from their birth, from their pregnancy. And this data was collected not only by doctors, but by researchers. These people do research in Hospital das Clínicas. So as far as we know, we can trust this data, and we can use it to compare their development and everything with the data we will collect now. Another thing we will do with these children, or at least we will try to do with these children, is prospective cohort study. Longitudinal studies is our dream. And it's very important with this kind of thing. To help us in this, we have a new partnership with Faculty of Odontology, Odontopediatrics to be more precise. And what these people want to do, they are very interested in our children. They are interested in our subjects. They want to do research with our children, dental stuff. I really don't know a lot of odontology, but they want to study these children. And they will provide these children dental care if they want to. You have to remember these are poor mothers. It's a public hospital. Most of them are poor. And Faculty of Odontology will not only do research with these children, but will offer dental care. If we are talking about well-being and a good service to provide to these mothers and their children, dental care is very, very important. And when they do this kind of research, they always call back the children 2 years after the treatment to see if the treatment was effective. So we will have their help to call these children back. At least in 2 years from now, we will have these children back, and we will be able to collect the data again and do at least a 2 years cohort. Later than that, well, everything's possible. And the kind of data we will collect from these children are not very different than the adults, of course, but with children. So some things will be adapted to children, but we will have questionnaires, videos, eye tracking, body measurement, health issues, and we will compare that with data from evaluations performed during gestational period, as I said before. So I'm done. Lucas.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Gustavo. I'm a graduate student here in psychology, and I'm also a twin. I started in this project with in the USP Twin Panel because it was a personal interest. I started in 2016 when I learned that there was a group that started studying twins, and I was interested about it, and then I met Emma, and we are together since then. And I've been part of almost all of the events we organized, so I'm going to talk a little bit about those events. The first one was in November 2016. It was the first twins meeting here at USP, and it was an afternoon where we had a lot of lectures. There was a poster presentation, a photography exhibition, some musical presentations. We organized it with other professors of this institute, and also a pair of twin doctors from medicine. And they invited also twin artists to show, to make a concert, to have a fun moment as well. And they are actually famous. They are Chico and Paulo Caruso, and they presented themselves. Also there was Celia and Selma. And here you can check some pictures of how was the day. And in this first twins meeting, we had 37 twins and relatives participating, and that's where our registry started, as Emma told us. We got the news and the media attention. We had, here you can check some of the headlines where we appeared. There are, the sources are Diário Oficial, Fantástico, UOL Notícias, and we also got in the Eventos USP, the promotion of the events that occur here in the university. And the most important, I think, it was Fantástico because it's a TV show in the Sunday evening, and we had two twin reporters who came. They are also quite famous. It's Mayara and Maraísa, they are singers, and they came to interview the twins who came and to show a little bit how it was the event. And Emma was in the TV report as well. And the second twins meeting was last year. This time we divided in 2 days. The first day we did it in July. The 2 days were in July, actually. But the first day was at CPUSP. It's kind of a club here at the university where we have green space, open space, and it was good for kids to enjoy and to have fun activities. This was all along the day, and we had lectures, we had a circus show, fun activities in general. We had also groups of discussion that was really interesting. We coordinate a group of discussion in between twins, and actually I'm there with my twin. And there were also concerts, and it was a really fun day, and I think the twins really liked it. And in this second year, we had the presence of Nancy Siegel and Sylvia Curti. Actually, in the other photo over there, you can see a pair of twins, but just behind, there is Emma and Nancy Siegel. And it was really important for us to have them with us in this event. In the second day was a day in a more academic way, and we did a lot of lectures in this auditorium. There were less twins who came for this second day because it was more like a research idea and discussion. But we had lectures, poster presentation, the photography exhibition. Here you can check some pictures, the posters. Well. And again, we get the media attention. You can check some of others' headlines. And this time we had 71 twins and relatives participating. So we almost doubled the number of participants from the first year. Again, TV reports. This time it's from Jornal da Record. another reporter who came to interview the twins and show how it was the event. It was really interesting as well as the first one. This time much bigger. And in the beginning of this year, we received Mick Barrows, that Emma already told you about. She runs a register in Netherlands, and it's a huge register. There are around 9,900 twins, 66 multiples, and more than 25,000 parents registered. And she came here to share with us a little bit of her experience. And one special thing is that she studies well-being. One of her last papers is Genetics of Well-being. It's components satisfaction with life, happiness, and quality of life, review and meta-analysis of heritability studies. So she is in the theme of twins and in the theme of well-being. So it was really nice for us to learn a little bit with her, and she shared a lot of experience with us. It was really nice having her. And beyond that, she also presented a lecture in a major event called USP Lectures. So it's open for all the community, not only for the Institute of Psychology. And it was called Happiness and Well-Being, Individual Differences, and Twin-Based Research. And now we organize the third twins meeting. It's going to be actually next week, in the weekend of next week, the 27th October. Again, it's the idea to do like the first one, the first day of the second event. So an open space with kids, fun activities, groups of discussion. And until now, we have already 96 registered participants. So it's even bigger than last year. We are growing, and this is an awesome, an awesome thing. Just to finish then, there is here a timeline presenting all the, how we started growing and how we are now. And it summarizes a little bit what we presented you, and it's interesting to see how much it's changed. Actually, I made an exchange program, so I stayed 1 year abroad, and when I came back, I really felt the difference, that the group was bigger and with a lot of research going on. So I think it's going really well, and it's a nice thing. And if you want to finish the...
So thank you, Gustavo. So everybody is invited to the third festival at Centro Cultural do Butantã, 27th October, 2 o'clock. Okay? And it's that, the end. So, okay, thank you. If you have questions, they are welcome.
Where's Mateus? Oh, yeah. When you're looking at the eye tracking emotion differences, are you expecting more similarities in negative emotions?
No, we're expecting that according to the emotion, the similarity changes more similar or less.
So our intention is to analyze the data and to understand if this similarity for these two regions, which is the nose and the right eye, they happen independently of the emotion. So we don't have any hypothesis of which will be the difference, but we intend to investigate that.
I don't know who was the one doing the... Wait, I'm looking for the face. Oh, yeah. Did you look at anything to do with other siblings other than... I assume when it was sibling, it was only the twin sibling that was... Yeah, when you looked at the attachment literature with the siblings, you never looked at the relationship to other siblings in a family?
To the other siblings.
To
no.
any other sibling that wasn't a twin?
Oh, no. We asked for the twin.
Just a twin, yeah, the twin.
Just a twin.
Yeah,
We are
great.
thinking about doing this, other sibling for the same twin, and also to the partner. We didn't ask that. We didn't think about this at the time, but we want to ask for the partnership. It's a very good idea.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's really, really exciting. It's a wonderful stream of research. Thank you very much, everyone.
Well, I'm very impressed with the large range of questions and how you have to use so many methodological resources, instruments, procedures. So it's a big research program. So I am very well impressed, and I congratulate you on the research.
Thank you very much, Daisy, and also Louise. The challenge is to find the best measures. The questionnaires are one instrument, but we want to use behavioral instruments too. The idea to film them is very interesting, but I was commenting with Patricia, we have to have the good measure to make the analysis. I didn't want to use very small units of analysis, but we have to think about and to develop them, inspired by the literature, obviously, but yes.
Nice. The idea of, well, you want to film and you cannot put them doing a long task.
Yes.
It has to be short. So it was very, you have lots of ingenuity in selecting the movies that you show them, finding different movies that would evoke different reactions. So you produce that. Now, one thing is to watch the film with, just not as a researcher, just as a person. It's interesting to look and see how they react. But now, how do you transform that in measures? How can you quantify that such that you can try to find patterns and regularities? It's a big challenge, but it's beautiful.
Yes,
it's
this
very
is
interesting.
We almost fight it between among us when we are planning the analysis, because we could not spend 2 or 3 hours with the twins. But some of the participants wanted them to stay 3 hours
For a
here.
day.
So yes, we had to make the choices. This was a challenge.
There is one article that did something similar to what we want to do, from Ekman's group. What they did was to analyze for each frame of the movie, using facial action coding system, what was the expression the two siblings were expressing. So we don't know if it's that the best way, because it's very expensive. They use 5 judges for each frame. It's not each second, it's not every 10 seconds for each frame. So they took a lot of time to do that. Probably it's I don't know, the golden measure, but we are thinking about doing something that is not that expensive, that don't take that time, but we are not sure how we will do that. We try with judges, but with a more ethological approach, and it didn't work. So we are still thinking.
What does the measure? You showed a very interesting thing, but I am not familiar with the technical details, but when you showed the two
photos,
the twins, and then you take the same girl twice. and you trace the
those
line.
graphs.
What kind of procedure was that? Because you are just looking at the face to see if there was similarity.
Yeah.
But now, if you take that, if it's, I don't know if it's possible to use, but the same thing frame by frame with the two of them, could you find the difference in those curves? What's that? Could you explain that a little bit
we
more?
We just found that software, so I didn't study yet how it works exactly. Somebody.
But it is a software.
Yeah,
Do you have access to it?
Yeah, we can buy. We don't have it yet, and some. Oh, you have. Oh.
No, we can do it. There is the face reader. We can automatically process all these videos, and then we can try to find a measure of coherence between the faces along the time series. So, and then we can try to establish a threshold when it's above chance. And so we could try to take these videos, put in the face reader, and try to figure out if they correlate between these two faces. And then we can try to plot the times where we have a statistical difference, and then we go back to the movie and understand, okay, this time here, then there is a significant coherence between the facial expressions is related to that point in the film. So then that could be, instead of looking to the film to the face, we look to the face and go back to the movie. And just in the points where we find significant coherence between them, and that could be nice. And we can do that in the lab. Yeah, we can do it. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Very good to have everyone here, and we were finally talking to each other.
Is coffee break time? Podemos fazer uma interrupção, coffee break? Okay, 10 minutes coffee break time, okay? And then we'll return to next talk. meu eu já tirei. Não, mas o que eu vou fazer é fazer um comentário que a USP prometeu da gente para suporte de difusão e não deu, que o que a USP acabou dando, porque a gente tem pessoas interessantes na área administrativa, e vou falar de você, porque isso acabou não aparecendo. Então daí você te aponta. Como é que é o nome certo da sua Executive Manager? Esse aqui é o meu. Mas eu acho que o Leonardo fala primeiro.
fazer esse. Porque também não temos que escolher só o primeiro. Nós temos as dificuldades inerentes, um processo novo. Agora, você tem uma coisa na aqui, ou você só está com...
Não,
só turismo?
Não, não é só turismo, mas é uma coisa meio pontual. Eu vou dar uma aula.
Não, achei que você estivesse criando...
Não é nada muito sério, é uma coisa meio pontual. É dar uma aula, por conta dos meus vídeos, dar uma aula para jovens.
Eu vi uma reportagem que Costa Rica é o país que eles estão querendo atrair profissionais que ganham que recebe 2 a 3 mil dólares por mês, estão querendo atrair para lá para
Eu já ouvi falar isso, não sei se foi de você.
Então, é uma ideia muito interessante, que é um país muito interessante. Mas eu achei que você estivesse criando uma parceria com ele. Mas você acha que existe a possibilidade de no futuro, a partir daí, começar a criar um vínculo?
Acho que sim.
Isso é bom.
Nós estamos bem atrasadinhos.
São quase 15.
São 3h30, nós estamos atrasados 45 minutos.
A gente reduz o passeio, nem tem muito o que acontecer aqui no instituto.
Mas para não atrasar com os pós-doutorandos, né?
Até às 5 horas.
Tem que começar às 4.
Então, você vai fazer o quê? Você tem meia hora.
Eu e o Leonardo, meia hora, a gente consegue fazer menos.
Não, meia hora não. Porque não tem muito passeio. Não leva meia hora.
Eu acho que a maneira como você começa contando, falando, eu não coloquei muito na introdução. Você já vai fazer isso. Então eu acho que é legal você se convidar isso como coordenador, só que teria um coordenador de setor que não existe no momento. Então, para começar uma sessão que fala de coordenações, tudo bem? Manda bala. Da minha parte, eu acho que uns 10 minutos, 1 a 2 minutos aí para algumas partes para você. Basicamente, eu vou reportar o raciocínio que a gente trabalhou em transferência tecnológica. Você não acha acompanhado. Então, você pode pensar assim, tá bom? Vai ficar. Acho que você tem bastante coisa para trocar, para ouvir, para legal você ter. Isso vai funcionar bem. Gerou uma comunicação mais industrial, resolve uma coisa, vai para a empresa de traficar, vai para criar um negócio,
Well, vamos lá? Well, next we have two short presentations from the two coordinators, Leonardo Garnica, the Transfer Technology coordinator, and myself. I am the Manager of Education and Dissemination of Knowledge. So, Leonardo, let's make we start. I am from the Department of Mathematics. So, just arrived in the psychology department. And I'm trying to understand. Okay, I'm trying to find myself here. Okay, and well, I don't know how to. It's here. First thing I would like to say is that this center of research is a very special one because we have the fundings from a private company, Natura, that's our great partner, and this is very, very important for us. Well, FAPESP is our great funding agency in the state of São Paulo. I don't know if you know, it's very important, it's very strong, and all the research we do in São Paulo, we have a lot to do with FAPESP. And we have 3 universities. That's also very interesting. University of São Paulo, where we are now, and Unifesp and Mackenzie. A public state university in the government of São Paulo, a federal university, and a private university. So that's very interesting as a proposal. And CEPIDs, I'll talk about what a CEPID is, but they're not, it's not usual to have a private company working with us and supporting us. We have a lot to learn on how to deal with this situation. It's a very good situation, but it's new for us. I don't know if in Ireland that's very common. For us, it's very new in Brazil. We have a large experience in another situation. That's a situation where a private company asks a university to do a specific job and pay for it. That's very common. But that's not the case. Natura is helping to fund a large-term research project. And Natura is not asking us, do this kind of research. I want this answer. We are completely free to research. They agree with the general guidelines, and we are doing our research. It's very important to have this in mind when you look at this research center. Well, Emma Otta is our director, and Patricia Tuba is our vice-director. When the center was launched, I will not show the complete video, but just for you to know, when the center was launched in the site of FAPESP, Agência FAPESP, there is a video. This video is Emma Otta speaking, explaining what this center is. I would say it is the first work we had in the diffusion of something, telling everybody what we were doing. And there is also Patricia Tobo speaking, okay? Okay. And so I'm in charge of education and dissemination of knowledge. In Portuguese we call EDC, Education Diffusion of Conhecimento. Knowledge in Portuguese is conhecimento, with a C. But all these centers are CEPIDs, and in Portuguese it means Centro, Center of Pesquisa. Pesquisa is research, innovation, and diffusion. The best word would be dissemination. Again, Luis, I don't know in Ireland, but in Brazil, the researchers don't know how to do diffusion, dissemination of knowledge. It's not our job, point. That's something very strong in our research centers. From some years from now, FAPESP is asking researchers in their projects to tell society why they are being funding by FAPESP. What are you doing with our money? They are public money. It's public money. And FAPESP wants us to explain to society why it's a good idea to fund our research. And the researchers, they don't know how to do that. It's one of the key points where the centers are having a lot of trouble to do is this action, because we don't know how to do that. 3 months ago, Ricardo, we had a meeting in the central administration of the University of all the CEPIDs, and some of the researchers that were there, all the time was blaming, well, you have to help us, asking the central administration, you have to help us. I have to do dissemination. I don't know how to do that. That's not my job. I'm used to do research and publish my technical papers in scientific places. How come I have to do disseminate? So it's something we have to learn how to do. Well, since April, I am in charge of this affair. And Mateus, the student who was here so far, it's not here at this moment, he's helping me. I wrote there June, but it's wrong, September. And we have a company, a Corollarium is a TE company that is supporting us in constructing this project. There was a former manager of education and diffusion, Professor Marcial Consani, and he did mainly two things. The visual identity of the center, it took some time to do that, but the great work was the web page, the site. And it seems simple to say, well, a website, a site, what's the problem in doing that? Everybody has a site. But don't forget, our site is not a site that is devoted to spread what we are doing. It's also a site where we do the research. We collect data through the site. So it took a lot of time to construct the site. It was not easy to construct the site. It took a lot of interchange of information between the company, the private company, Corollarium, and the former EDC manager, because it was not very easy to construct the site. So it sounds quite simple to say you have a site, but it was not so easy to construct the site. Well, this is not linked. Okay, if you have time, I'll show you the site. It's a very beautiful site. It's not so updated, and we are working on this site right now. We are starting to change the site. Well, but before talking about the site, when I say that's something new for us, even the diffusion of knowledge, we are not acquainted to do that. And also, when we have this group a private company, FAPESP, 3 universities, we have a lot of the problems to do diffusion. Language, we don't know how to talk to the society. It's quite common that when someone tries to ask a researcher to talk about his work, and he uses very technical terms, and nobody understands what he's saying. And when you ask him, can't you say that with simple words? He says no, because there will be a lack of precision, there will be a lack of scientific rigor, and I will not do that. In my area, mathematics, this is very dramatic. I have a lot of colleagues that simply say no when a journalist, someone from the media, asks him, oh, something is going on in your field. Would you like to talk to my paper, to give an interview? And say, no, because it is impossible to say in your language what I am doing, what is going on, and I will not speak without rigor. It's quite difficult for us. Of course, there are other issues of priority in what we are doing and questions, matters of intellectual property, but we are being very successful in our relation with Natura. No problem in these 2 years. We didn't have any problem of priority, what is the time of saying what you are doing, or intellectual property. It's been very easy to work with Natura. And for us, it's something that we look with a lot of care, because there are 2 CEPIDs that have private companies working with, and ours is one of them. And for the University of São Paulo, and I think for Mackenzie and Unifesp also, it will be a kind of pilot of a new way of cooperating, a public or private university with a private company that's putting money here, but give us quite a lot of liberty to do research and diffusion, and we have to learn to work together. Leonardo and I have something in common to say to you. The center is working for 2 years, and now we start to have good results. And so it's possible to start talking to society, through the medias, and say what we are doing and why it is important to FAPESP and Natura and USP and Mackenzie and Unifesp to fund our center. We are having results from now on, so we have what to say from now on. We didn't have so far a lot of things to tell, because we are starting our research projects. But we did some things. This is a cartilha. Cartilha is a small book, a folder about well-being in school. And this is a work that was done by a team in our group. And, well, we have this result. This is a project of a kind of a discipline to be made here in the Institute of Psychology. Professor Emma Otto is the proponent. We are a kind of a discipline about emotions in education of child, and a kind of pilot study. So we did these small projects. Well, this Mike Bartel's lecture was very important, and we used it was one of the things that we diffused through our site, so everyone can see the research. Mike Bartels was here. She worked with Emma in their research projects, but also she gave a talk open to students, and it was a talk that could be seen by everyone. I attended the talk, and I think I understood some, at least part of it. So it's another example of diffusion activity we did. This is the folder of the talk. When this project of CEPIDs was launched by FAPESP, the universities had a counterpart. Of course, our professors, the time of our professors, of our students, is a counterpart of the university. And the university also had a promise of giving to each CEPID some staff members. And we received a very high qualified manager, executive manager, Ricardo Priest, who is over there. He's the responsible for the fact that I am here. We had worked together before. And so in the administrative area, we received, and the other CEPIDs also had the chance of receiving staff very high qualified to administrative issues. But USP also had a deal to give us people to work in the dissemination of knowledge, in diffusion. And we didn't receive this kind of people. We should have a professional doing that, but that's something that university didn't did. She promised to give us people to work in this field, and did. We had, I'm not criticizing the university, we had a lot of problems, of funding problems, internal funding problems. Our budget is not so good anymore, and so university can't help us with that. So that's the fee. We have to do that. FAPESP asked us, and we want to do that, and we are trying to do that the best way we can. So that's what we will try to do in our website. So what are the next steps? I don't have a lot of things to show you that we have done. I have something to tell you that we are trying to do in the next, from now on. Well, we'll work in the web page. We are already working it. We'll try to make it more attractive, more interesting. And as you are seeing, we have a lot of interesting subjects of research. The study of twins, the study of olfactive emotions and memories. All these subjects are very, very interesting. I am sure that many of people would like to know more about that. So our web page could be more interesting, more attractive. And we are starting to put a lot of information there, photos, videos, interviews, news, articles. We will work in these next months to transform our web page in a site for the spread of scientific information. And not only exactly what you are doing in CEPID. I think it would be interesting to put here more information about science in general, to attract people to look at the site. Our goal is to transform the web page in a site that could be known as a good place to get scientific information. Let's say more than we are doing exactly in the research in the center. We would like to do that in our web page. And we are starting to create a YouTube channel. This is something that took some time for us to take this decision. For the old people like myself, so I'm very old, for me it's the same to have a web page, a site, or a YouTube channel, or something like that. But it's not true anymore. For young people, a YouTube channel is much more important than a web page. For me, it was a surprise when I think Leonardo told me some time ago that YouTube is the second research motor in the world. Google and then YouTube. People that are looking for information look at the YouTube. It's the second principal place to obtain information, technical information. People don't look at other motors like Yahoo or things like that. And YouTube is the second principal way a person uses to get information. And it makes sense when you stop to think. People are not interested anymore in reading a page. They prefer to see a video. It's quite usual. We are seeing this all the time. So we will make a great effort to create a YouTube channel for our center. Not only concerned on the specific research teams we are doing here, but also talking about science. I have something wrong in my mind. I am always thinking in a very institutional way. So we will have a meeting with the Central Administration, Provost of Research, to propose not only a YouTube channel for our Center of Well-being, but it could be a YouTube channel for all CEPIDs in USP. A strong scientific YouTube channel. University of São Paulo doesn't have a strong YouTube channel. I don't know if it has a YouTube channel for scientific dissemination. It could be a strong YouTube channel for all the CEPIDs. Or if the Central Administration says no, it's not possible, we'll do it by ourselves in our center. But we are betting that our way of disseminating our knowledge, the knowledge we are creating here, will be through this YouTube channel. So I don't have much more to tell you. That's what we are doing. And of course, we will work in other social medias, but our first great effort will be in creating and giving space and giving importance to this YouTube channel. Okay? Well, this is my email, IME, Institute of Mathematics and Statistics. Sorry for that, but I am a mathematician. Okay? Well, I think Leonardo could talk about the technology transfer, and then we could open to questions.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I'm going to share some of our advancements in technology transfer coordination. It's important to say that I'm vice coordinator because we had this team together. Luciane Ortega was the coordinator for 1.5 years, almost two years. Flávia Oliveira do Prado she works at USP Ribeirão Preto. She is now taking care of her baby, but she helped a lot, Luciane and I. And I'm going to share some of our plan because, as Claudio told you, our main work is coming, because we have to work on the results, on the project results. So I'm going to share some the main parts of the plan and how it goes, and after that we can maybe get your questions and discuss how could we go in a better way. So our goals, we want to, let me see, the pointer here is not working. Okay, thank you. But I have to change the pen, so it's not so useful. So we are in charge of planning, organizing, directing, controlling the entire technology transfer process of the Wellness Center. And the way we do that has to be involving people, involving the leadership, researchers, during the execution of the projects and when they reach the results. So, in other words, we have to provide, to think about it, and to establish together the guidelines to establish new partnerships, to involve these other institutions that are the institutions into the center and the new ones that could be join the center. And the main points that are issues for us are intellectual property sharing, how to deal with remuneration, costs in the IP prosecution, how to manage IP. And it's important to say that into the University of São Paulo and Unifesp, Mackenzie, there are the technology nucleus. There are structures, organizations responsible for managing technologies generated by the research, by the results from the projects. So we have been working together, talking to the director of the agency at USP and other agencies from the Mackenzie and also Unifesp. So we developed a model to conduct and to disseminate the way we think that we could work together in terms of how to see the process of the research generation and how to apply into a technology transfer process. So the first is discovery. We decided to talk to the researchers to understand better what they are doing and what is the potential to apply into an industry, the results from their projects. After that, to identify and to do evaluation process using some methods to understand how could we see a research result and to decide how to use, to apply and to remunerate, to pay some royalties, for example, for instance, for them. To evaluate how to explore and to identify partners to explore besides Natura, because Natura is like we say, we are sharing this knowledge and these properties by the agreement, but Natura can maybe the company is not going to apply into their projects or their products, so we could be open to apply these results in another industry, other companies, the way we think is the best. Here is the process that till now we never use it because we didn't have an industrial result that we could apply that, but it's a rationale that is useful for us to understand how to deal with this kind of issue, technology transfer. So here we have the research projects, the discoveries, the research results. We evaluate them, the nature of the technology, the applications for them, the way we could protect patents, methodologies, publications, all the intellectual property umbrella.
So possible applications and explorations. And if we have industrial application, Natura could apply and remunerate them by the agreement. We have established it in the contract how much we have to pay in terms of using with exclusivity only Natura. But Natura maybe is not going to use the result, and other companies it's our role to understand, to identify, to scout new partners, to apply this knowledge, because the goal is to have this in use by the society and to get the remuneration by this use. If there is no industrial application, or if we can survive doing the both, we have also publications. Okay, some results. We have been interviewing some researchers to understand the technology that they are generating in the research. We found scales of makeup, new methodologies, educational booklets or apps that we could apply in digital technology, technical and scientific indicators of well-being, but we didn't have any patent or some result very, how can I say, that we could apply as a product. Other role that we had, we are in charge of the fulfillment of the agreement in terms of to agree with the publications, because when the publication goes away, we have we have the names of the company and FAPESP and the universities involved in the center. So each publication has to be approved in a certain period of time, and the technology transfer coordination is responsible for that. So we receive the abstracts, the tentative papers that you are going to publish, and we analyze from the side of the company if there is some information that could be not disclosed, or how to mention the name of the company, or to not change the features of the research or the methods, but how to mention the subject behind of the research, not the technical, but the responsible, because we have competitors in the market. We'd like to review our presence in the correct way, correct moment. We had analyzed this kind of materials, a chapter for a book, abstracts, different research results for different congresses and conferences. And I think we learned a lot how to deal with. It's kind of easy, as Claudio told us. We learned how to exchange this kind of information and to have the improvements on time. So I think that's all. The main results that we had. We are open to discuss more with you and to listen to your questions. Thank you so much.
If you have comments, questions, observations, suggestions, we are quite open to hear from you.
Claudio, one of the things we are discussing here is that the universities have some university TV, like TV Mackenzie, TV USP, and this kind of things. Maybe it could be nice to try to integrate these groups as a way also to disseminate the results and all these things. I have a nice contact with people from TV Mackenzie, and I know that they're really looking for new programs, new interviews, materials to disseminate. So I think it could be nice if you could integrate the university's channels.
Good point. No problem.
Be something interesting.
No problem at all. And the way of producing a video for YouTube or producing something for a TV is quite similar, and it would be very happy to share with TV Mackenzie. When I decide for YouTube channel is because the young people want YouTube channel. Everything is in YouTube. They are not looking the website anymore, the sites anymore. They are looking at the YouTube. So we are pointing to this place because it's the, as Leonardo told me, it's the second research motor in the world. But okay, it's a good idea and we'll do it, certainly.
I have nothing new to say, only to agree with Claudio that we researchers don't know how to do this. So I have the same problem. I am a director of a National Institute of Science and Technology, and I have this problem. I am here trying to learn with you. I even took my cell phone. I want to take a picture of your diagram, then I said, no. Let me learn from another way, because I have the same problem. It's a challenge, but we have to learn how to do this. And you are right. The young people, they can lead us on this because they are much more familiar with the media and with what they are looking for. So we have had some help from our students. That's a way to do that, but so I have no questions. I am just here trying to learn.
We can send the presentation, no problem at all.
Okay. Thank you for your words. I feel strong. No.
I want only to say that Claudio has a lot of experience to make videos in the mathematics area, and they are very popular. So could you speak a lot of your, something about your experience with this kind of classes?
There's a project in the state of São Paulo called the Univesp. It's a virtual university. And they have two branches. One is University TV, and they started the recording classes, normal classes, in several universities, Unicamp, USP. And they recorded 1 year of my calculus classes to engineering students. 170 videos of 20 minutes. And it's a hard calculus, second year of engineering. It's not the first year of calculus. And it was really a success. These videos, the group of the videos, the last time I saw it, we had almost 3 million of views of hard mathematics. So it was really a success. And then I started recording videos in studio. TV Cultura, it's a TV channel from the government also, and I'm always recording things for them. Now I am recording a pilot of Calculus 1, the first course of Calculus. And we are doing the recording thinking that the blind people would understand. So I am talking in a different way, describing the mathematical formulas, thinking that the person who is listening is a DV, a visual deficient. And we organized the slides to have Libras translation for people who can't hear. So it's something very innovative, and we are doing this pilot right now. I'm just in the process of recording these videos. So I have some experience in recording my classes, but I'm not an expert on that. But maybe, and now these videos are in YouTube. If you look to YouTube, Calculus, Claudio Possani, you'll see these videos. And that's one of the reasons why I am so excited about the idea of making a YouTube channel. It's not a coincidence, because I have a successful experience on it. Okay, I'm sure we can do something very good in this sense. They will start the direct to the talk with the postgraduandos, or it was supposed to make a visit in the institute. But, okay, we are a little bit late, but no, the talk was scheduled for 4, no? 5? No? Well, maybe I am with the wrong. Well, anyway, they will do the walk. Okay. And then return to this auditorium for the talk. Okay.
Estruturar, tal de ordem, ali embaixo, ali.